Passports are supposed to set you free. More passports, more options, more control over your life, right? That's what we tell ourselves. But what if some of those passports are actually liabilities? What if the very document you paid 6 figures for is the thing that gets you taxed, drafted, trapped, or flagged? While the internet's covered all the benefits of an additional passport, IMI has identified 13 ways other nationality can ruin your life, and we're counting them down from uncomfortable to catastrophic. Let's start with reason number 13, the one most passport collectors don't want to hear. After about 3 citizenships, it's relatively easy to get diminishing returns. Each new passport brings potential tax complexity, military service obligations, exit restrictions, paperwork burdens, and surveillance risk, all of which we'll cover in more detail later in this video. Most investors need 1 or 2 strong mobility passports and maybe 1 insurance citizenship. Anything beyond that could mean you're stacking risk, not freedom. And the 12 reasons ahead will show you exactly how. Reason number 12, your passport makes you a symbol whether you like it or not. Quick exercise. What comes to mind when someone says United States, China, Russia? Whether those perceptions are right or wrong, millions of people carry a generalized reputation and stereotype because of their nationality or nationalities. It affects how you're treated at airports, in job interviews, on visa applications, and yes, even on dates. You didn't choose the politics, but your passport chose them for you. Reason number 11. Some countries demand annual declarations of your global income. Every transaction, every piece of real estate, every bank account, crypto wallet, and gift. And you're expected to file whether you live in that country or not. Fail to do so and you face exorbitant fines, blacklists, or criminal charges. Now multiply that across 3 or more citizenships and you haven't exactly built the freedom portfolio you set out for. You've built a bureaucratic nightmare. Reason number 10. FATCA, the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act from the United States, and CRS, the Common Reporting Standard from the OECD, weaponized the global banking system. American citizens know this firsthand if they've moved or invested abroad. International banks will routinely refuse to open accounts or close existing ones simply because of your nationality. You could be wealthy, transparent, and fully compliant with your source of funds, but because of your citizenship or where you were born, you're a high compliance risk. And as such, your investments and holdings worldwide become subject to tax obligations, privacy violations, and surveillance you never agreed to. And with central bank digital currencies on the horizon, this is only going to get worse. Your passport is a tag, and the banking system reads it before it reads your balance sheet. If you want to understand how to enter the jurisdictions that do treat you properly, IMI's program encyclopedia covers almost 300 residency and citizenship programs in 140 countries, where you can sort, filter, and compare those that match your needs. Find it at imidaily.com. Alright, reason number 9. We all know about the extensive visa denials, sky-high rejection rates, and absurd documentation requirements certain nationalities face just to visit a country for a few days. Travel mobility is not equal across the globe. If your passport comes from a country deemed unworthy by bureaucrats, your life, your business, your family, and your investment opportunities are all on hold. Meanwhile, others cross borders illegally and face no consequences. Those who try to do it the right way, treated like criminals. Reason number 8. Some passports are risk-coded in airline and immigration systems. You get pulled into secondary screening. You miss flights. You face suspension that has nothing to do with anything you've done. Middle Easterners know this drill. So do Nigerians. Even some Latin American nationals get profiled based on cartel connections or asylum trends their governments and compatriots are associated with. Your passport becomes a walking red flag, not because of your actions, but because of what others think your nationality says about you. Reason number 7, and we're entering the territory that can upend your life overnight. If your country of citizenship angers the wrong alliance or global power, your visa-free access can evaporate. Afghanistan, Iran, Russia, Venezuela, North Korea, all of them experienced this. And a few months ago, the US State Department surfaced a new travel ban list to review certain security issues with specific countries. If you don't think those countries won't retaliate against American citizens, history says otherwise. Even if you're innocent, your passport is not presumed so. Your mobility exists at the whim of political leaders you've never met and don't support. More than halfway through now. Reason number 6, you board an international flight. Immigration checks your passport. They tell you it's invalid without any possible appeal. This has happened to dozens of Russian citizens, Iranian athletes, and to Chinese journalists. In most cases, through no fault of their own. Governments can invalidate your travel document at any time for any reason, and you find out at the worst possible moment. Reason number 5. Want to leave your country of citizenship? That'll cost you. The United States charges an exit tax when your assets exceed $2 million and you renounce. If you're a resident of California, the state levies its own exit tax on top of that. In fact, 7 more major countries, including Canada and Japan, also have exit taxes. Norway introduced a wealth tax and has lost an estimated 5,000 millionaires because of it. These are taxes governments levy on the act of wanting to be free, for building job-creating businesses and profitable portfolios. Financial punishment for success. Rules like these change constantly. If you want near immediate access to program updates, changing requirements, and government law modifications that affect you, subscribe to IMI Daily's newsletter at imidaily.com/newsletter. Reason number 4, and these are getting serious. Citizenship revocations are not theoretical or hearsay. Indonesia and Singapore have strict dual citizenship bans, and they require that anyone obtaining their nationality immediately renounce any original citizenship. In just the last year, Kuwait has revoked 12,000 citizenships from dual nationals. Sometimes the revocation isn't even due to fraud, it's due to changing rules that you had no part in shaping. And suddenly, you're forced to choose the citizenship you were born with or the one in which you invested to escape it. Reason number 3. You thought your second passport was an escape route, but when the pressure hits, your government slams the door shut. In Ukraine, men cannot leave the country. In Myanmar, exit bans are slapped on dissidents, business people, and even foreign executives. In Belarus and Iran, some citizens are trapped as political pawns. Just a few days ago, several nationals from the Eritrea soccer team disappeared after playing internationally to escape their country's clamp on them. You don't own your freedom if you can't leave. Many of us in the investment migration industry do what we do because of what we witnessed just 5 or 6 years ago. In summary, a passport can become a state-owned ankle bracelet overnight. Reason number 2. You're 35 years old. Your parents gave you citizenship in a country with mandatory military conscription. You haven't lived there since you were a teenager. But when that country enters a war they didn't start, in a place you can't point to on a map, well, you're still eligible for the draft. Ignore the call and you could be barred from re-entry or arrested the next time you land. Citizenship revoked. If you try to renounce, the government will claim you cannot until you fulfill your duties. And this doesn't just affect you. If you have a son, and in some cases daughter too, who holds that passport, he could be next. And finally, reason number 1, the single most destructive feature a passport can carry that affects every day about 40% of our YouTube audience: citizen-based taxation, or CBT. The United States is the only major country that taxes its citizens on worldwide income, no matter where they live, earn or bank. You could be born abroad, never enter the United States, earn every dollar abroad, and yes, the IRS still expects its annual cut. Although the current Trump administration has flirted with ending CBT, our contributor and IMI pro, David Lesperance, wrote that's almost certainly not going to happen, and the trend is spreading, not shrinking. France, China, and India have all debated and even proposed whether CBT is a practical revenue tool to pay off sovereign debt. It's politically expedient to make the wealthy foot the bill, right? Because who cares about those job-creating, wealth-generating, economy-stimulating, high-net-worth individuals? The wrong passport could mean a lifetime tax leash, regardless of whether you live, work, or even set foot in your country of citizenship. So, 13 reasons. Government-imposed liabilities, mobility risks, financial traps, legal exposure, and strategic miscalculation. The lesson is not to avoid second citizenship, the lesson is to choose them deliberately, with eyes open, and to understand that every passport you hold is a contract with a government, not a simple gift with no strings attached. Now you know the 13 ways a passport can hurt you. The next step is figuring out which passports are actually worth holding. We made a video breaking down the best passport in every region on the planet, measured on a range of factors. And the answer is not what the rankings tell you. Check that out on your screen now. And of course, subscribe if you want more from IMI on global mobility and investment migration. See you in the next video.